What's up? Oh man, it's a Thursday night. It is kind of chilly up here in Pittsburgh, but I'm sure is a little bit warmer down in Las Vegas. And guess who's here with me today for one of a kind? It's Rob Van Dam. Rob,
It was right on the tip of my tongue.
You'll get it next time. I know you will. Dang.
Yes.
How are you?
Yeah, good, dude. It is very nice here. Pretty intense sun still in the daytime, but it's cool at nighttime. It feels great. Like at nighttime, we always go outside and say it feels just perfect. I looked at my jacuzzi, and I've had my jacuzzi set since 90 to 90 for the last several months since it was so ridiculously hot. And it's still set at 90. The water is still 96. So that gives you an idea, that it's cooled off, but it's still pretty warm here.
Still pretty warm. Dang, I'm envious. I like people get excited for fall over here, and I kind of like it for just a little bit, like maybe like a couple of days, and then I'm just like, all right, I want the heat back here. Just give it to me. And we don't get that over in Pittsburgh, though, sadly.
It's garbage day again. Can you believe it?
Garbage day. Dang it. Dang it.
Personally, some of the followers maybe might be with me on this. I don't know. But I think that fall is depressing. It's like summer's over, back to school, the leaves are dying and falling off the trees, the warm weather, the pool parties are all gone. It's time to start wearing warmer clothes. The whole thing, darker, long, dark days, not as much light anymore. The whole part of the year to me is a downer.
Oh, I'm with you, Rob. Like, I like some of the elements of fall, but just a little bit of it. And then it's totally for me that too. It's like, oh, leaves are dying. Yeah, we got to layer up now and wear hoodies and all that stuff. And winter's on the bend here. And it definitely affects you. I get
the smell of burning leaves, it reminds me of that feeling, man, summer's all over now. It's sad, now the ground's going to be all wet, for the next. Yeah, not my favorite time of year. And I hate that New Year's Eve song for the same reason. I don't know what they're saying, but it sounds like they're saying, may all the good times be forgot or whatever that is.
May all acquaintance be forgot or something?
Yeah, whatever it is. I always just think that sounds so sad. I know another year, let's put it behind us,
Yeah, I don't like it either, Rob. Man, I want summer back already. But we're live here, guys. Live on RVD's YouTube, on One of a Kind YouTube, RVDTV.com. You can use the super chat on RVDTV.com if you want to get your question definitely answered. But I always keep my peepers peeled for any good questions. So does Rob here, too. So be sure to ask something. And hey, if you haven't yet, check out onlywrestlers.com. Get in on there, sign on up. There's more content that's going to be produced there, and a lot of different personalities being on there. So any news on the forefront of that, Rob, coming up since we last spoke?
Just, it is something that continues to grow, and we're still making tweaks on the website. I told someone how to get on and follow me for free yesterday, and then they ran into an obstacle with some payment guard window that popped up, and we have to tell our programmers in Thailand, and then they fix it, but it's like we still have a lot of that. So I'm glad that we're taking this time period to just get everyone involved, and the wrestlers, if they don't want to start doing content yet, then they don't have to feel obligated because no one's getting charged anyway. And some of the wrestlers do want to start doing content. And as of in a couple of days, Columbus Day, the 14th, after that, then it'll be up to the wrestlers if they want to charge or not. But it's awesome, since we're still at the beginning, whenever we hit a major score or whatever, it's real exciting. I'm pretty stoked to find that somehow we have followers from like 12 different countries.
Dang, really?
Yeah, they keep popping up, from it was like Italy, England. That's cool. Germany. What was the one a minute ago? Kuwait.
Kuwait, really? Wow.
I almost said, the place Vader got held up at. That's all I can think of. But anyway, so that's awesome. And I'm thinking far in the future, thinking of, like hopefully several months down the road, this thing will have some real numbers and be really big, because it's totally got like a snowball effect, and it's really designed, I guess, to pick up momentum in that way. So I think the longer it's around, hopefully the bigger it'll be.
The cool thing about it too, Rob, is I'm looking right now at the site and all the different wrestlers that are on there, and it's a lot of like the notable names, like Violent J is on there, Fonzie's obviously on there. There's
Cage.
Yeah, several other. But the neat thing is, and there's a mixture of like independent wrestlers too on there that you can. It's what might be cool is it could be a good platform for a lot of those guys and gals to use, so they can showcase themselves and kind of get the word out about themselves too, which is nice.
Yeah, and that's one of our agendas is to do just that, and hopefully this will be a hub. And when we have thousands and thousands of followers, then it would give any wrestler that advantage. At least, they got the crowd there, and they got all the other wrestlers telling their fans, go to Only Wrestlers. So you got a better chance of being seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We also have ways, though, that we're going to showcase the independent guys and just all the creators, like when they sign on and stuff. We have to have like a community center. And I think it's going to be on the Only Wrestlers Association main page or something, where there's a window attributed to or whatever, like community chat. We got to have all that stuff so that this community can all talk to each other. And right now, I just noticed even the creators, we're not able to see each other's content. We're not able to like each other's comments. We can't support each other unless we go and create a whole nother user account too, and sign out from the creator account to use the user account in order to show support and like people's posts and stuff. So that's something, back to the programmers. I got something to add to the list,
Lots of trial and error, seeing what works, seeing how
it is. And it's just going to keep getting better and better. And as it is right now, I mean, it's working to do videos. And I'm in the messages, by the way, that people are sending me. I'm responding to all of them. If they require a response, I might not always be able to do that. Hopefully I won't always be able to do that when I got 50,000 followers, but we're in the hundreds, probably right now. We're growing, and I'm able to, look and respond. So keep that in mind. Just go to onlywrestlers.com and sign up. Me, Katie, OWA. We're always going to be free. No charge on us. The other guys they'll all be different prices. Some of them will be free too once we start charging. But right now, everyone that signs up for free. Plan on getting 30 days for free when you sign up, and you won't even get charged if you cancel. Then you're, hopefully you won't cancel, and we'll do some cool stuff together.
Cool stuff indeed. Yes. Somebody that's has some cool plans too is Seth VB, Venus Beach Dub Club. He chimes in with the $20. I got to keep that internet light lit to find the gloom.
Internal light, bro.
Yeah. Oh, internal. Thank you. Internet light.
Yeah. So he's just, but January through April is tough. So that's spring, right? Like,
yeah.
There's fall and then spring, and all of it, like 6 months together, is wet. Like either snow's coming or snow's melting, and from certain parts of the country. But man, I don't like the cold. I don't like when it's hot inside because everyone's got their heaters blasting, and I got to wear a coat outside so I don't get pneumonia. But then when I'm inside, I'm too hot.
Too high, yeah.
In people's cars or whatever. the airplane even. It's always like, dude, kill the heat. I'm the only one. I'm the only one sweating. So
it's always cold in an airplane. I'm always freezing in an airplane, Rob.
I'm always doing this. I grab the instructions and I'm always going. Well, actually, you saw my neck fan that I have that saves me. The neck fan, yeah.
Oh, the neck fan. What is that?
Yeah, it's something I wear now on the airplanes and at the conventions. It's a neck that goes around my.
Yeah, I remember you
around my neck and it blows air. Yeah,
I remember that now. Yeah.
Let's put a link up with an Amazon link.
Yeah, get that Amazon link going. Yeah. Seth also asks, by the way, how do I set up my Only Wrestler subscription for free? I have to set my page up still. So I think that was, you messaged me about him, and we tried to get so I think, Seth, I can walk you through it later on. I'll show you how to do it.
Oh, you know the answer to that one? Okay.
Yeah, I think I was capable of doing that, so I think I can walk.
You were able to set it for free?
Yeah, I think so. I think they gave me. I knew the minimum price was a set. I think there's also a free option though too.
Okay, yeah, because that's something that they're, I guess, working on now, or maybe just got done doing. And some of the problem with it, I didn't understand, but it's all in like they were trying to figure out, can we set a date so when they join they get 30 days and then it charges them afterwards, or should it be just 30 days after we draw the line or whatever? And that was all a factor. But yeah, if you can help them out there, then you're the better man than I for the job.
I can do it. I'll do some troubleshooting with you, Seth. For sure. Dang it, I want to find Maddie's joke he posted earlier in. It was a pretty good one. I don't want to ruin it. Where is it at, Maddie? Help me out here. Rob, while I look for Maddie's joke. Hold on a sec. I almost found it, I think. While I look for Maddie's joke. Oh, it disappeared. You got to repost it, Maddie. That's the issue. Either way, wanted to get your thoughts. We had a little clip pop up of you on social media way back when. You're interacting with Marilyn Monroe. I'll see if I can pop this up and we can get the sound going on it too. Hold on a second. So I'm going to pop this up here.
The Marilyn Monroe.
The Marilyn Monroe. Now, you let me know if you hear the sound on there, Rob.
No sound.
No sound?
Nope.
Dude. I don't know if I can get it on here.
Silencio.
Now you get okay. So I'll do the narrate. You're enjoying.
By the way, this reminds me. I saw Toni Storm did an interview and said she once had a 3-month affair with Stan Hansen.
Yeah,
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, and like the lariat, she was like laid on her back, and like it was like a different kind of lariat or something.
Gave me a lariat, and now we're them. That was funny.
Well, Rob, basically, you're just
go ahead. You do her voice. I'll do mine. Let's go through it.
Okay, you want to interact it? Let's see here.
Yeah, I'll be me.
Okay, we'll add it to stage again. Let me pop it back up. Dang it, I lost it.
And I'll be the Dynamite Express. The other tech.
Is that the other one? Okay, I gotta find it again. Hold on. Bear with us here, guys.
Team from IWF Universal Studios. Talking 1991, barely.
All right, you ready?
Yep. Okay, here we go. Wow, look at the sights and sounds at Universal Studios. What could be better?
Ooh.
Miss
oh, I love
Monroe. This is Rob Von Dam.
Oh, hello. So Rob, talk about that experience. When was this? You said 90?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was 19. I think it was just 91. I think it just turned 91. So, beginning of the year, I think I told this story on this podcast last week. It came up again though, so I told it twice last week. Do you remember me talking about being in the movies or being an actor? Like when I first got down to Florida, and I'm talking about this scenario, this whole day right here. I remember talking to Sabu, and I was like, well, let me back up a little bit because fans might find this interesting. So the thing the topic was knowing who to listen to and being able to make the right decisions and having someone to give me advice. And so when I left the nest, and I'm down there in Florida by myself, as far as the family goes, I'm wrestling in Tampa, and Eddie Mansfield is running shows at Universal Studios in Orlando. Eddie Mansfield has a lot of heat. He's been blackballed from the business. He went on the 2020 show, the same show where David Stossel, the interviewer from
John Stossel, yeah,
John Stossel. I said David Hasselhoff. John Stossel got
David
smacked.
Hasselhoff.
Yeah, yeah. He got smacked. David Waffle House. John Stossel got whacked. You think this is fake? Bam. Yeah. What about this? Bam. And he, sued. Said he permanently had ruptured eardrums. Blah blah blah. On that same episode, they talked to Eddie Mansfield, and Eddie Mansfield takes a razor blade, cuts himself, and says, "Red turns to green." And he's saying that means I get more money when I do this, and it was a very expose show. And because Eddie did that way back in the day, he didn't get booked anymore in the business, and so he was a bad word. He was heat. He was someone to stay away from. He was a leper and contagious as fuck. So when 20 years later, when he says he's running shows and he's booking young guys at Universal Studios, a lot of the wrestlers in the area, in fact, almost all of them, were afraid they would get blackballed if they worked for Eddie because of his reputation, and myself included. I remember meeting with them and having him pitch the whole thing to me. And I was like, damn, man, it's TV too. He's got TV at the studios. Like, we all want to be on TV. This is 1991. So, I'm still like brand new. I've been on South Atlantic TV already. I think that might be it. Well, I guess Memphis also. Well, I've been all over the place. Anyway, I was able to call the Sheik. And I said, man, like everyone's telling me not to work for Eddie because I'll get blackballed. No one will book me again. And so they're afraid, and they're not working for him either. I don't know what to do. And Sheik gave me the same advice that he always did. He said, tell everyone to go fuck themselves. He said, you can work for Eddie. He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. Tell him I said hello. Tell him to call me. And so I was like, wow, that makes it a lot easier when I still had him around. And so I did, work for him. And I remember calling home one time. Man, it's so awesome. Eddie puts the wrestlers in some of the TV productions that they have going on here. Superboy, Swamp Thing. He says he's going to put me in shows. I did a thing with Marilyn Monroe today. Marilyn Monroe, looking like a venue. It's so cool down here. And Sabu was like, hey, fuck that. He goes, what are you? He goes, are you a wrestler or are you a movie star? I go, well, I mean, I want to be. What's wrong with fuck that? You're either a wrestler or you're a movie star, and you're a wrestler. So fuck that stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I like movies. I mean, that'd be awesome to be part of that or whatever. And he's like, well, whatever. You need to figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. He was pissed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
interesting, huh?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, did Sabu's thought process kind of change on that a little bit of later on? How, because, you see people make the jump over from there, and you see the kind of lines have been blurred now a little bit, and the curtain's been pulled back. I guess I'd have to ask Sabu, but maybe I wanted your perspective if you know.
We all have to have a different perspective as we go through life and look at everything from a different position. If we don't, then we're not growing if we don't see it from a different perspective. And I know he's proud of some of the stuff that I've done But that was like an old school kind of thinking back then.
Yeah, absolutely,
It
right?
was like us against the world, even
Mhm.
actors.
Yeah.
And he never had any other interests that I know of. I was always like, man, someday, you're not gonna be able to keep wrestling. Your body's gonna break down or whatever. You know, acting something like that. And he started realizing later like that'd be cool if he happened upon a side career like that. But as far as his passions and interests, that motherfucker, all he wanted to do was fill in all his off time with booking more matches the whole time I've known him.
How about that? That's awesome. That
Yeah.
blew my mind. How did you like? What was your interaction like with Eddie Mansfield? Did you get along with him okay and everything?
I still do. Yeah, we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
We are friends. When me and Joe Clark made the movie Headstrong, my documentary that's on Amazon about my concussion symptoms, Eddie Mansfield ended up hooking us up with Arthur, who was a sales agent that hooked us up with Reels, the TV channel, and so we sold Headstrong to Reels. Eddie was part of that just like 2 years ago or whatever. So we still talk about possible business. He had me read a movie script not too long ago for a possible job, and we do shit like that sometimes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Also, here's something that people will find interesting because I had a message on my social media, I think on X.
Yeah.
Which everyone knows Professor X owns that.
He does.
He can see into the future. So,
Yes.
right. So, the question was, are we saying it? Have we been saying it wrong all this time? Because when the dude introduces me to Marilyn Monroe, he says, Miss Monroe, right? That's my line, Miss Monroe. Miss Monroe. But he says, Miss Monroe, Rob Van Dam, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't hear the audio. People have to take my word for that. And the question was, have we been saying it wrong all this time? Actually, the real answer to that, yes.
Seriously?
The name that I was given was Rob Van Dam.
What?
Yep. Believe it or not, that's what Ron Slinker called me. He's the guy that gave me that name at the Sportatorium in Tampa in 1990, actually. And then, nope, 91. My bad. Wait, could that have been a year later? Wait a second. I went down there in November before my 21st birthday, so that was 91. So anyway, in 91, he Rob Van Dam, and I changed it myself. So technically you're not wrong. You're saying it the way that I have always preferred to say it. But I was originally named Rob Van Dam. And if you could hear the audio on this video, I've probably been Rob Van Dam for all of 4 minutes, by this point in my career. And he's saying it the way that they said it.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
Man. So what made you change the way it was sounded then? When did you just not like how it sounded and you're like, I want Rob Van Dam?
Well, it was also the movie actor was also a relevant factor. His name was also pronounced different ways. A lot of people would say Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then other people would say Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I guess I liked the Van Damme better. Eventually I needed it for Van Damage, Van Terminator, Van Daminator. But I think it was just my preference and how I said his name and how I thought the name should be said.
How about that? Wow, that's wild. That's wild. Rob, when I used to frequent the message boards, whether it was Wrestle Crap or something else, I remember my username on there would be Rob Van Dam. So kind of close.
Van Dong?
Van Dam. Dom. Like, I should have put Dom.
What?
What kind of message boards were I heading to? Van Dong.
No.
Holy smokes. Guys, if you have any questions, chime on in. Feel free to hit the super chat. Feel free to just ask, see what happens. Maybe we'll see it. But wanted to get your thoughts too. Kind of a serendipitous moment, supposedly, I guess. So Jesse Ventura revealed the body. He had revealed that he has signed a Legends deal with WWE. He says, "Hell hath frozen over. Yes, hell hath frozen over. I'm back in WWE as a legend. I've gone through negotiations. We've reached agreements, and I feel very good about. I'm 73-year-old now, and my life has gone full circle." Well, he said that on his Substack, Rob. But then I heard somebody message you or ask you about your Legends deal, and you said, "Yeah, I'm under a Legends deal," and it's still the one that you're under with 2021, correct?
Yeah, I saw today that it's news. People are congratulating me and stuff. Okay, I just like their comment anyway. It's what I do. They think I'm confirming something whenever I like it, but I try to like all the comments. But yeah, a lot of congratulations. And then I did mention on that one, yeah, it is true. You know, like in 2021, I did sign a Legends deal.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess they're different for everybody, maybe for each talent per se. Maybe that's pertinent to what they're doing, or I don't know. I don't know how that all lays out, but
we do know that's how independent contractor agreements go. You know, we all work out our own deal. Mm-hmm. Why would you say that though? What makes you bring that? What brings that to your mouth?
Do you mean what makes
differences? The differences you were saying, I guess.
Oh, just because I think about because somebody says something else when it comes to their Legends deal, like I'm trying to think. Like Ken Shamrock mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. He said something to the effect, "Oh, I'm under a Legends deal, and I'm doing like, you know, I've had a relationship with them." And I always think it's like, I just imagine that it's different for each talent. Sometimes, you know, like it's contingent upon maybe what the deal that gets negotiated or something like that, or maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't know anything about them, to be honest. But it was just, I would just think it's an interesting thing because some people have limitations on what they can do, while others can go and do stuff. Yeah. So I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a flexible template, you know, that they have, and then depending on everybody's individual circumstances, you know, you might say, yeah, I already signed with these 2 video games already, you know, so I need to have them excluded from it, or, you know, something like that. Or if you say, hey, I want to do it, but I don't want to give you guys exclusivity to action figures because I got 5 other companies that are doing it, then they might say, well, then we don't want to sign you up. You know, we don't.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. It's all. But also they got to pay you even if you're not under the contract. If they're selling your likeness, then they owe it to you anyway. But they're not obligated to make anything new with you if you don't have a Legends deal, you know?
Yeah. I imagine like they want, hey, if we could make money off of a RVD action figure or like RVD in a video game, then that's more incentive to put you to a deal. Because I know DDP just signed one too. He said he signed one. He announced that he signed one while he's at Bad Blood and stuff. So
I guess that's why people think I just signed one too. I don't know.
I think that's it. Word's getting out like, hey, and I think Ken Shamrock, when he said I signed a Legends deal, that didn't happen like immediately. It wasn't news. He was signed to a deal for a while now. So it's just like, it's not like breaking news. It's something going on.
I can add to this conversation. Several months ago, one of the Legends said that they couldn't appear at an event that maybe they were expected at, where a bunch of the group was getting together to watch one of them being honored, and somebody put out there, I'm not going to go because of my Legends contract. It made it seem like the Legends contract prohibited them from going. Maybe it was an AEW event instead of WWE, something. I don't know. Whatever it was. Yeah, maybe it was Sting being inducted into the fame. And maybe is somebody going to say this is going too far? Oh, that's my plane ride from hell line. Anyway, you remember that? Is somebody say this is going too far? Anyway, somebody said, you know, that I'm not going to be there because on my Legends deal. And then I talked to them because I was like, I'm on a Legends deal. I wrestle for them. Like, what's the deal? And they said, oh, no, it's not because of that. I'm not going. And the whole public thought that somehow that was the factor. And he kind of implied it, even if it was some trickery of wording. But that was the first thing that made me think, like, maybe mine's different. If theirs says they can't go into the building and I can wrestle for the other company, then maybe mine's way different. But then after talking to them, not so much. So I think they have a template that's probably flexible. Has to be as an independent contractor, agreement.
Yeah, I think I don't know who the talent was either, but like I think I remember hearing something about that, and I was just automatically thinking, oh, they probably just don't want to cause any waves, and just like, why make issues? Like I know Nash said on his podcast, like he got invited, I think, to maybe go to Sting's retirement match.
Well, as long as you're gonna stooge him out, it wasn't.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I think he said that on the podcast anyway. So. But yeah,
people thought it was because of the Legends deal, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just like, no, he's like, no, I just have a relationship with Triple H, and no, it's like that's part of it. So, so interesting stuff. I always was curious about that kind of stuff. So. Let's see, what else do I want to cover?
What time does Marty call in?
What do you think? Do you think calling tonight?
I should have him call in. People seem to really,
dude, that was
sorry that you were like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't put that up. I'm like, I was listening. He didn't say anything. He didn't cross any lines that are, beyond Marty's world. Because I got to look out for my friends too, and I wouldn't want to get eat. But there was just normal Martyism on there. And people seemed to. A lot of comments said it was gold.
People really, really, really dug it. Yeah, it's up on the latest episode. It's also up on RVD's YouTube. I'll put it up too as a clip on RVD TV too. So it was definitely. I did not expect it, Rob. Did not expect it.
The only thing the worst part of it when that happens is that he just talks like right over me. So if I do have anything to say, or if I try to comment in here and there, 2 words in, he just rolls right over me like I'm not even talking, and so that becomes a contest, where I'm gonna go ahead and finish my sentence, even though you're talking right over me and you're not listening to anything that I say.
Dang it, Marty. Hey, guess what? Guess what? 4th week in a row, Rob. At least this is 4th week in a row. Jim D just gives us $10.
Whoa,
Jim! Thanks, man. Jimmy
D support. And hey, by the way, is this right now? Unless Chris put it live at the Real RVD, it's not playing live there, is it, or is it?
No, I put it on, so it's playing live at the Real RVD right now.
So it's at the Real RVD, and it went through sports going live.
It's at Real RVD on your channel, and then it's on RVDTV.com, not on One True Sport right now. It's at
RVDTV.com. Okay,
yeah.
And then the chat room, is the chat in one or the other, or is that a combined?
Chat's in both. Chat, I think, is in both.
Oh, okay. They just can't tip if they're watching at the Real RVD.
Yeah, and then people can also chat and make comments on Twitter too. Rob, right now we actually have over 3,000 people tuning in live. So
cool, man! Happy fucking Thursday, everybody! Happy RVD Thumbs Thursday. Not to mention biceps. Holy fuck!
Dang, Rob.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Vascularity and a half right there. I don't have any vascularity. Look at that. Nothing.
Coming along, dude.
Thanks, man. I'm trying.
Fuck yeah.
I need to get a tan on or something, though. That's my issue. Not getting it up here.
Is feeling good.
Good.
I've always said I will outprice myself in the business. You know what I mean? That's always been my plan.
Wait, explain that. What do you mean?
Okay. So my peers, or the traditional way that a wrestler's career is, they say, what goes up must come down. And then, wrestlers go up, they have their peak. You only got so many bumps on your bump card, man. And then usually in their early 40s, maybe their body starts breaking down on them. and then their value goes down as well. They're off TV. How many wrestlers tell me this? 95% of them say, well, come on, Rob, you know how it is, man. You're off TV. You're off TV, you're out of mind. People forget you real quick. Not so much for RVD. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, but I know that most people, I get it. That's it. You didn't impact people's lives so much that they're always going to remember you necessarily, or that you'll stand out to them anyway. For wrestlers, they have their peak years, and then they don't, like I said, Sabu don't want to do nothing else but wrestle. But if that's the way that it is, then as their value drops and they're still getting what they can, then their price goes down, what they can get goes down, their value goes down. It's like a cycle. They'll work for less, so then they're going to get paid less, and then they're worth less, and then it's like as they move less and work their way down, then sometimes you got a story like Ramsey, whatever, the Ramsey, whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, Randy the Ram.
What was it? Randy the Ram
Robinson.
And we all know so many wrestlers like that. And it's because they got used to, that lifestyle, and then it didn't last real long from them. And then there was a hard crash coming back to reality because they were addicted to being out in front of everybody. Same old story over and over and over and over to different degrees for the traditional pathway of a pro wrestler, So for me, I always have said that I think I would prefer to just price myself out of the business and maintain my value, maintain my health, maintain being able to still do everything I can, regardless of if I was on TV last week or not. And if I'm not on TV and if I'm not booked, then maybe it's because they are wanting me to work for less than I do, in which case I just walk right out the business on my own terms, feeling healthy as fuck, and then having the rest of my life with me. So that's always been my plan, as opposed to going down and down and down with the price. You're getting a little older, you haven't been on TV in a while, but that never happens. There's always like something that happens where it spikes my name value again. Even just being on SmackDown, boom, all of a sudden people are like, yeah, but I stay ready, and so I can wrestle. And the fact is, if the money isn't there for me, it's there for someone else. And if that's the way it is, then cool. But I'm still not gonna drive my value down into the ground like so many of my peers have.
Well, I think that's what's cool about it too, is like you're able to, like, if you don't take a gig or you don't do something, it's below your price range or anything like that.
It's almost always that. Like, people always go, I know you're real selective, about who you wrestle for, stuff like that. 95% of it is if they meet, my booking requirements, my fee, then boom, I'm there. And there are enough of those to keep me as busy as I want to be, a little busier than I want to be. I've been saying that for years. So, there's enough of them to where some of the other ones, if they can't bring me in, I don't want to work for their little tiny small company in front of 300, 200 people anyway, because why would I want to do that? The only reason I would want to do that is if you pay me the same as if you had 10,000 people.
Exactly. Right. Well, you don't have to name any names, obviously, but do you find a lot of good big names in wrestling kind of undervalue themselves on the scene when they do that kind of stuff, just because maybe they're not good with financial stuff or anything like that? Do you find they undervalue themselves?
There's so many of the guys that their wives handle a lot of the business for them because, especially in the old days when I don't even know if they can add and subtract or whatever. But when I'm thinking of way back, because this is what I'm learning, what not to be like and stuff. But when I left WCW in May of 93, and I was doing independent shows with Greg Price, wrestling promoter. We're doing fundraising shows all over the Carolinas and Georgia. This will give you an idea of how the business traditionally looks at the star that is past their twilight years, so to speak. And the dollar is worth a lot more now, or rather the other way around. Things are way more expensive than they used to be. Scales, everything that happens with life. But I'm talking 93, 94, 95. During that time, if we wanted to use a WWE wrestler that wasn't being used, we could book them through the office of WWE. We had to provide the flight. We had to provide a limo and $500.
Wow.
WWE superstars, and we booked a lot of them. That's how I got to know Mr. Hughes. He was on that deal at the time. I can't remember who all we booked, but Jake the Snake was the most expensive, and that was quite a bit under $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Now it's like I wouldn't even, do anything for anywhere near what some of those guys that were like just outside of programs or whatever. Big Boss Man, I think. I can't remember who all, but Greg was in charge usually of doing that. But he would go to the WWE office, and all these guys were just available, and $500 included the WWE's commission off of that booking too.
Wow. Yeah. How about that? Man.
Isn't that crazy?
That's so crazy. That is so crazy. Maddie, if you have a question, ask it, because I owe you a free one, because we missed a super chat. Not on here. I missed a different super chat on that. Or my brother did it, so I'm paying back for my brother.
Okay.
Yeah. So ask away, ask a question. I'll be sure to get to it for you. Let me see here. What was the other?
Trying to do the podcast. I'm trying to show the podcast or different or whatever, but trying to podcast on only wrestlers. But so far, I don't know if it would be like you could do it in live. Like that's the only way really right now, because there's a live, but then once you stop doing the live video, it just disappears.
Yeah. Well, Rob, what we could maybe do? What if do you have a different device like that you could record live on as we're doing this, like a spare phone or like an iPad or something to that effect?
I know I could do that,
because you could do like almost. I know NFL games or whatever the fuck they do this sometimes, or they give like a different angle. And granted, they won't hear me talking. Maybe they will. I don't know. But I mean, you could just do a different angle of it live on the thing at the same time. And
hopefully eventually we'll be able to do something better though, and have, that stays in there. Yeah. Yesterday I did an interview and I did exactly what you're talking about. I had my phone sitting on my laptop recording me doing the podcast, and I'm glad I did, because some shit before he hit record was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because when he came on, I said, I know that face. And it was like, you do? I go, yeah, don't I? I said, you've interviewed me before. He goes, well, actually, he goes, there's 2 times, about 2 years ago, I did that. I said, yeah, you're the guy that you put me on with Ninja Mac, and you said you like to have a superstar legend with someone that's new and upcoming, and you like to put them both on together and then try to make a relationship or something. And he's like, wow, you got a great memory. And all that was before we went on, but I had it. It's on my yesterday's Only Wrestlers video. But then after I recorded the whole thing, it was over an hour, and then I was thinking, well, I can't put the guy's podcast on air because he's planning on airing it in a couple of weeks or whatever he's doing. So I just took like the first 10 minutes or something and put that on, because mostly we're just testing shit still too. I do a video every day, put it up there on my feed, so people get used to checking in with me and my day and whatever's on my mind. And then I always put a thumbnail that has absolutely nothing to do with the video at all. Just because I'm testing, and usually it's got like 2 hearts on it anyway, so I don't think too many people are worried about it. But yesterday's thumbnail was the Tropicana being imploded.
Yeah, wow.
Yesterday morning they did that.
They imploded. Okay, because when I was in Vegas a couple months ago, well, for Cauliflower Alley, it was like the skeleton of it all was still up. And I was like, holy shit, there's a Tropicana. And it kind of bummed me out because I knew like D. Martin and them played there. But I heard it was kind of a shithole, though, too. But so it's completely gone now, right?
Yeah, they had 2 buildings that were still up yesterday. And you should YouTube it, you know.
I will, yeah.
You should listen to me. Do this. No, you can YouTube it if you would like to. And
I would like to, Rob.
They did a really cool, you know, as far as fireworks and music and coordinating. As far as putting on a show goes, if you're entertained by that, it's worth checking out. But they did it at 2:30 in the morning. I was going to go see it, and I totally forgot. I fell asleep like 8:30 or something, and thought I was going to wake up and go check it out, but I totally forgot until the next morning. So whatever. But you know, someone had a window for me at the Oyo, which is right next door, so that would have been pretty cool. But maybe next time. Anyway, it was sad. It was very sad.
Yeah, that is a bummer. It is a bummer because it's like that's one of the last of the originals. It seems like, right?
Yeah, they said it was the 3rd. Oh, here's a conversation. I was gonna give you this to post actually, so we could. I was gonna give you screenshots of this.
Ooh,
I forgot, but anyway, I don't know if anyone else will think this is interesting. So I heard someone on the news say that Tropicana was the 3rd oldest hotel on the Strip, and I thought, well, obviously the Flamingo is going to be the oldest one that's still there. I wonder what the second one is, you know?
yeah.
And I was thinking, I had a couple of guesses. Is it, you know, Sahara? Is it the Circus? Wait, what? And I said, Alexa. And she doesn't fucking know. Alexa, what's the second oldest hotel on the Las Vegas Strip?
It's mine.
0.4 miles away on Long Boulevard, average 1 mile away on South Whitfield Street.
That's funny. We both got.
She's giving me casinos in Pittsburgh. My Alexa is.
Oh, dude. Okay. So when I found out, she doesn't fucking know. She said Trump Casino that opened in like 65, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why would Alexa? And I tried asking a few different ways. You okay, baby? Okay. And what the fuck was I talking about?
The Alexa and
yeah. So I was like, I asked a few different ways, and I was like, that's so wrong. And so Katie said, you know, ask AI, and I asked Chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
And so I said to Chat GPT, what are the 3 oldest fucking casinos and hotels on the Las Vegas Strip? Right?
Yeah.
The answers were complete bullshit.
Serious?
Yeah.
Fuck. What did they say?
Yeah. I can just pull it up real quick, and then I won't have to fucking make it up because I was arguing with it, you know, because I thought, like, why would you even say that? Okay, so it says number 1, Flamingo opened in 46, El Rancho. Oh, well, here's one of them. It says number 3, the Sahara of Las Vegas. It says it opened May 1st, 1952. And the founder, it says, is Benjamin Bugsy Siegel and Partners. And so right away, a red flag goes off in my head. Well, wait a minute. First off, no, Bugsy Siegel had nothing to do with the Sahara. Second off, he was whacked in 1947. How the fuck could they think that he founded the Sahara in 52? And then I kept reading, and then it said that the Tropicana opened in 1979, you know, and I know that it opened in 57.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote back. I said, you're wrong. Benjamin Siegel died in 1947, so he could not have founded Sahara in 1952. I also see Tropicana opening 22 years after it actually opened. Why are you telling me lies? And it says, you're absolutely right, and I sincerely apologize for those inaccuracies. Let's correct that. And then it goes through Flamingo, 46, Bugsy Siegel, as mentioned, blah, blah, blah. And then it says El Rancho. And then it goes Sahara, open 52, Milton Prell, not Bugsy Siegel. The Sahara was one of the early ones. As for Tropicana, it actually opened in 57, not 79, as I had mentioned earlier. Thanks for catching that, and I appreciate your patience. So I said, where do you get your information? And it says, I understand your concerns regarding the inaccuracies in my previous responses, and I apologize for any confusion caused. How I generate information, training data sources, diversity, knowledge, synthesis, patterns and contexts, no real-time access, limitations. And then it goes on to say, you know, we encourage you to not use us as the only source when it comes to information, but to doing a little bit of data and comparing before you know if what you're getting is fact, you know. So,
wow.
So that's good to know.
That's full of AI.
And then I said, you know, they're talking about the Tropicana like it's still there. Yeah. You know, I said, you know, by the way, they imploded the Tropicana this morning. It lives no more. And they hit me back. Thanks for the update. Tropicana had such a rich history. So its implosion marks the end of an era on the strip, you know, like a conversation. And they said, let us know if you hear what's coming next in the development. So I was like, it's a baseball field for the A's, you know, like everybody knows that. And it just went on. Thanks for the info. The Oakland A's moving to Las Vegas and building a stadium on the Tropicana site is a huge development for the city. It'll be exciting to see how that transforms the area. So, you know, I'm still trying to learn and understand it, but it's like, it obviously, like it's so quick, it's like instant response, but then it includes stuff about our conversation. Like, as you mentioned earlier, it wasn't Bugsy Siegel, it was Milton Furrow, you know.
Wow.
Like it's quick with that stuff, but a lot of people might not know that, so that's why I wanted to share. But it's not always accurate. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Alexa was wrong, and so was Chat GPT. They both fucking, you know, tell them lies.
Man, get your facts straight, guys. Come on.
Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies.
Tell me sweet little lies. Well, let's see. I'll tell you a sweet little joke by Maddie here. He says, a man is lying on the beach wearing nothing but a cap over his crotch. A woman passing by remarks, if you were any sort of a gentleman, you would lift your hat to a lady. He replies, if you were any sort of sexy lady, the hat would be lifted by itself. Oh. Pretty good, Maddie. Pretty good.
All right.
You are full of the jokes, let me tell you, Maddie.
And there's empty paper on the ground now.
Oh, let's see.
The dog's eating it.
Uh-oh. Dog eating paper. That's a common occurrence when you have dogs.
I had to look it up because our dogs love eating paper, and I had to make sure it's okay because they love it. And they, you know, apparently, according to sources, it's okay. They'll probably just pass it with their
poop it out typically, I think.
They love eating paper.
Oh my gosh. If you leave, I mean, the dogs I've had in the past, they would chew it. They would eat everything, chew everything up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, tear up certain things and just be like, just chaos, Rob. Hey, so yesterday was Eddie Guerrero's birthday. I know we've talked about Eddie before on here, but I knew a couple people were, or at least one of the people one of my dirt sheet writer friends, they were wanted to get maybe your thoughts on working with him in the ladder match again, if you have any memories of that, and talk about just the style that Eddie worked when you did work with him. Was he a pretty stiff guy too in the ring, if you remember or anything?
Eddie was I think he was like snug enough to be a good compatibility for me. He really cared a lot about his match and about the business. Like he really took it seriously and really liked working really hard. I had great matches with him, and it was because we both had our different talents. I think the way that our talents contrasted when we met, and at the same time complemented each other. I think that's what pulled out such a great physical, athletic match. And I had 2 ladder matches with him, and one of them was on TV. And I think right before that, could have been right after, but I think before that, we had a ladder match. It might have been at a house show that wasn't on TV, and one of them was in Madison Square Garden. I don't know if that's the one that was on TV or if that's the other one. If it's the other one, that would make more sense, because normally I wouldn't be in a ladder match if it's not on TV, but if it's in a Madison Square Garden live event, you got to give them a lot. I think that might have been it. And Eddie's attitude was really cool because, we always knew we were going to have a good match I always know I'm going to have a good match when I work with whoever. I'm too confident because I don't even want to see them. I don't even want to see them and think about it until my music's hitting, and it probably could be a little better if I did care a little bit. But I feel like this is gonna be my first bad match like in decades or something. But anyway, Eddie, one thing that Eddie brought that stuck was, when I monkey flipped him, he would take one of the best monkey flips.
Yeah,
I'm the one giving the move, but I can't seem to get everybody consistently. There's certain dudes. Eddie's one of them. AJ Styles is one of them. Matt Stryker. There's a few of them. And boom, they it's something about the way they stiff their body just right so that I can launch them or something. Boom, they go across the ring. And, a lot of times I can do it when the guys are smaller, but still, sometimes the people just barely even get over, or they just go up a little bit and come right back down on me. I got to roll out of the way. And sometimes it's almost like a dud. I've always enjoyed doing the move. And doing it with Eddie, he was like really good at flying across the ring, maybe hitting the turnbuckles on the other side. And he said to me one time when we were talking, next time you do that to me, he said, boom, when you jump up on me and when you're standing on my thighs about before you flip me, he said, take a moment there, look at the crowd, go RVD, and then monkey flip. I was like, that's fucking awesome. If that's not going to be holding you there too long, fuck yeah. And then, boom, that became the way that we did it every time after that.
That's awesome, man. So, Rob, you're right. I looked it up right now. You had one of your ladder matches with Eddie at WWE Backlash 2002 for the Intercontinental Championship. Went about 11.5 minutes, and it was in Kansas City. So the other one you had at Madison Square Garden was the non-televised one.
Okay, that makes sense. And Eddie was like, I know this is your style, your game, let me know when let me know when you got some ideas, and let me know, what we're doing. And so he was really cool that day with that, because coming from ECW, when we would have a ladder match, somebody that either had never had a ladder match before or hadn't had very many would feel like like they were playing in my field. And Eddie was one of them, and Big Show was one of them that both told me that they hadn't had a ladder match before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so Eddie never had a ladder match before you?
That's what he said.
Wow. Well, wasn't he in one? Maybe I'm wrong. I got to look this up. Maybe he was in one with Rey Mysterio and WCW, but I don't know. I'll have to look that
I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look that up here. Man, that's awesome though. Man, I love Eddie. I probably said this on the show before, but like when I was as a kid watching WCW, he was one of the first heels I legitimately didn't like. Like I did not like him because he was so good at what he did. And then I'm looking back and I'm like, man, Eddie was just too good that I just didn't like because he was so mean to Chavo, and he was just like this mean prick little guy that you're just like pissed off at. And I'm like,
yeah, he was intense.
Yeah.
It's like he had a similar intense vibration to his best friend Chris Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
Those are both two guys that were like, they weren't going to be sitting by each other in the dressing room, cracking each other up, making each other laugh, and being silly. You know what I mean? They were both two very not silly guys that were real serious guys that just looked like they're half pissed off anyway. So you kind of are afraid to offend him just by even saying something or doing the wrong thing in front of him. It's just like, damn, bro, you look hot already. I don't know better. Yeah, they both had that.
So like, and this would just be leading up to matches, like before a match or before an event or something like that. It'd just be in fucking like game mode, basically, like if they're ready to roll, kind of thing.
Well, it'd be like, say come in the dressing room and I want to get my keys out of my bag so I can go make a trip out to the fucking car or whatever. Boom. I'd be like, Book, we're going to smoke. You want to smoke? And I look down and like Chris or Eddie, like if they just looked up at me with a serious look, I'd be like, me neither. I might do that just to break the tension, because I am silly.
Yeah.
But, it would be like that, man. Just, did I say the wrong thing in front of them? And because I knew with Eddie that he had struggles, everyone knew at least during a certain part of that, the end, or 2004 would have been for me, I guess. I knew that he was coming back and that he had demons, as he put it, and he wore it on his face. He'd be like reading from the Bible, sitting back there with his back against the lockers or whatever in the dressing room when I'm coming through to just change or whatever, and he'd be hanging out there, like purposely staying away from all the, I don't know, I want to say all the bullshit, all the temptation, all the garbage, whatever. Yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah. Holy smokes. Yeah. You could tell too, just the way he worked in the ring and everything. Like he was just an intense individual that was very, very passionate about that stuff. So I always like Eddie, man. Stuff. So he did. Maybe this was his first ladder match in WWE, Rob, because I looked it up, and he had a ladder match with X-Pac or Sean Waltman in WCW at Sold Out 1997 as well. So maybe
it's always possible that I remember it wrong. Big Show had told me that he hadn't had a ladder match, and I guess that's believable because he's a giant.
Yeah.
And Eddie probably just told me he hadn't had very many or whatever, and was like, this is your game, come up with some great shit, stuff like that. And everyone remembers the fan ran into the ring pushed the ladder over when Eddie was climbing it, and that was a moment. Eddie punched him. And usually that's what happens when a fan gets in the ring, because they're really in our, and I don't want to say like they're breaking into our house, but they are breaching into our safe zone. So
right. Yeah.
yeah, you usually want to discourage anyone else from doing that.
Absolutely. Like you'd think about somebody if you're in a play or on stage and somebody just runs up there and starts doing some shit. You're just like, no.
In concerts, happens, and the musicians got to deal with that shit. People are out there, and sometimes they kick them and crack them. I see that. Sometimes they're pretty violent when fans go up there and they fucking, it's like a game. They just turn around and bam, fucking beat the shit out of them. And other ones let them run and dive off the stage in front of them. Yeah, when you're in there with wrestling, so much could go wrong anyway, because of the physicality of what you're doing. That's not a time where you want unpredictable shit like fans running in there and trying to leg dive you or something like that going on, where you're trying to have the best match these people have ever seen you have,
Right. Did you ever have to crack a fan or get physical with a fan that interfered?
You know what? One time comes to mind. Well, a couple times comes to mind, and one of them ended up being a lawsuit in Allentown, and he was just paid without even. Oh no, we actually did the deposition, and that's right. He was paid, and that the fuck off fee. And I pursued anyway, and I had to go there and do the fucking deposition, and ECW took care of everything. You know what I mean? There was 2 lawsuits when I was on ECW that they had to pay involving fans. But one time that I think about was an indie show. I was wrestling Billy Kidman, I think in North Carolina. It was a Greg Price show. And I was a heel. So this was like 96-ish. I was trying to find my inner heel because I've been wrestling with ECW. And they hated me up there when I was wrestling Sabu because he was their god. So I was like really, in cocky heel perspective. And I was in the crowd after doing a dive or something. And I felt somebody yanked my ponytail really hard. Boom. Behind me. And I turned around real quick, and all I could see was a body retreating backwards and then 2 other bodies closing in the gap, so that I couldn't get to him. And it was happening so quick. I turned, and as he was receding and they were trying to close, I dove between them and reached between him, and bam, and I punched him in his face. Boom. And then end up with both of these guys, holding me. And then they go, wait, don't. He's special.
Oh, man.
I looked and I was like, oh, I went over and got Kidman, threw him back in the ring and just went on with the match, and was like, holy shit, here it comes. Here it comes. But it ended up just being like a few T-shirts or something.
Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, that's something you wouldn't even think about, especially in the moment where like your adrenaline's pumping. Somebody pulls on your fucking ponytail that you're like, what the? Oh man, yeah, that's.
yeah, and those guys they were trying to stop.
Yeah.
They were with him. They were his handlers or whatever. But so that's a story that comes to mind. Yeah.
Wow, man, that's wild.
Oops. Yeah.
So let's see, Maddie. Okay, Maddie, this is your question you're going to use. Let's pop this one up. RVD, did you ever have any cool convos with the Ultimate Warrior? I know you had some interaction with the Warrior there, Rob.
Yeah, I got one on video, an RVD TV episode, which is The Power of the Mind, because he was always about inspiring people and with having the right attitude, just go for it, do it. Don't ask questions, kind of, and I said, where do we draw the lines, though? Because some people think that their mind is so strong it can change their physical health. You know, some people say they can control their own heartbeat or their body temperature, you know, and I think some people have different limitations than other people when it comes to that, you know, and I brought up this example. I remember at the Battle Creek Budokan, the guy that was the karate instructor, and I know I've told this to you before, but in front of the class, he's telling me that the mind can overpower everything. And he said, I can focus and I can put mental roots through my feet into the ground so that I can't be lifted off the ground. I was like, bullshit. You know, so of course, you know, he was like, here, hold on. He goes, okay, try and lift me. And I grabbed him around his waist, set him back down, and he goes, well, he goes, hold on. He goes, oh, hold on. He goes, but let me try again. Okay, you know, and I grabbed him around his waist. And he goes, oh, well, that's just because you're so strong. He goes, you could tell it was harder though, right? Like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah, it was tougher, man. You were a lot heavier.
Yeah. And so that was part of the conversation that I had with Ultimate Warrior and Chris Nowinski, who is the expert on brains, you know, and studying the brains, ripping them open. You know, CTE is the one that taught us about all that. And so the three of us did a Friends in High Places episode on RVD TV. And that was before Warrior did his return match after being out of the ring for like 10 years. And then he went and wrestled Orlando Jordan in, I think, Africa after we filmed this, and went to the ring, and I put him through my stretch. After the stretch, just ran the ropes a little bit. That was basically about it, and filmed some stuff. But he was really cool, and I didn't know how to take him. I didn't expect him to be as cool as he was. And then I found out after he's gone from his wife that he was even cooler than I realized, because we had a relationship I didn't even know about, where he'd been following me in my career since we met, like way back in 95. And I didn't expect him to even know that I was on that card, on the undercard as him, at a show out here in Las Vegas at the Aladdin. And his wife asked me if I remembered that show, and said that he always pointed me out to her and was watching me and following me. And then I'm like, well, that's why he wanted me to get in the ring with him so many years later, you know, 20 years later, whatever it was. That's cool. That makes sense. I didn't know. I just knew through a mutual friend that he respected me. And I was like, well, cool. Fuck yeah. You know, I'd love to do anything with him. So that was a really interesting experience. And then, like I said, it made more sense, came more full circle after his wife told me we were more connected than I realized, because I was a fan of his before I was ever in the business. And when I would wrestle at the kickboxing shows to open them up, I would put shoestrings on my arm and color my face with paint, Sharpies or whatever, and called myself the Battle Creek Barbarian. But I didn't have this to even tie up back then. It was kind of just a little skinny, like a pipe cleaner, basically, with a shoestring around it.
Yeah, that's awesome, Rob. It's kind of neat.
I know.
Oh yeah, those. Yeah, look. I mean, heck yeah. But you think about Warrior, and he's he's a polarizing character in the wrestling business. But it's neat that he took the moment to think about you and like dog-eared you in your career and like kept eyes on you. It's kind of neat that you know, you don't think he's like that invested into the business or something like that. And like that's the impression that I'm sure fans maybe get. But then you see, it's neat that he followed your career. I think that's awesome.
In this show that I'm talking about at the Aladdin out here, it was pre WWE, pre ECW, you know, so my TV had been pretty limited, and I was still like pretty green, and so I didn't expect him to even notice me. I just thought I was someone on the card. Now that I think about it, we did do an excursion that we were kind of together because it was the baby faces playing laser tag with some fans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the only time I've ever done that. I got my ass beat because they were so good. They would team up on you, you know, and have tricks and sucker you into it. Boom, boom. You know, you're wearing this target that keeps going off. As soon as it quits going off, the next guy hits you. He's just timing it, waiting. So, oh man, and the game's over. So I didn't really see him after we got there and split up. But besides that, I was really impressed and surprised when his wife said that, you know, do you remember that match? You know, he was watching you and he was saying how good you were. And he was saying, watch this kid, you know, watch his career. Like, we got to watch what he does. And she said he was always pointing me out when I was on TV and stuff. And I talked to him, you know, at that WrestleMania that he was at and before he passed away. Glad I did have a chance. And that, you know, that was, I went to his skybox to talk to him, you know, the one that he was in, you know, and just, hey, good to see you, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, he died, 2 days after that or something?
Yeah, I think it was like maybe the Tuesday after Raw, I think when he passed. Because he cut a promo on Raw, and it was almost like kind of like, whoa, like almost.
Was the promo on Raw or on the Hall of Fame?
So he did the Hall of Fame speech.
And then did a promo on.
Then he did a promo on Raw too. Okay. And he kind of indicated like when you take your last breath and said stuff like that during it. And then sure enough, like wow, passed away. Like
I thought that was on the Hall of Fame speech as well, or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
I blended it in, but yeah, But anyway, I saw him at the last hour and got to talk to him and stuff. But I didn't know any of how connected we were. For all I thought, I could have just been like, hey, you remember me? You know, like we've talked a few times, you know, like I didn't know that he was a fan of mine, you know?
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. No doubt about it.
First time I saw him was at a house show in Michigan. He hadn't been on TV yet. He was doing the house shows, maybe getting experience, maybe before they put him on TV, and they called him the Dingo Warrior.
Yeah.
And
didn't you say he came out to the Warrior, that song?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He came out to Pat Benatar.
Yeah.
I am a warrior. Yeah. Knocking down the walls of fire, baby. I gotta make faces when I sing. I gotta become a husband. You know, but and I was so taken by him. You know, just everything about him was raw. He was so intense and vascular and boom, and you know, the gorilla press thing, everything about him, I was sold. I was like, shut the fuck up and take my money.
Take my fucking money.
Yeah. Very first time. And then everyone at school, I'm telling them, and they didn't know if they weren't at the show because he wasn't on TV for maybe a month after that. And I was like, dude, wait till he's on, man. He gorilla pressed Butch Reed, bro.
Butch Reed, man.
Yeah.
Hacksaw Butch Reed.
The gorilla press as well.
Yeah. Oh, did Butch Reed?
When he was in WWE, he would do that.
Oh, interesting. Mike adds, Warrior is so misunderstood, Rob. Warrior and Chris was a great chat. If you didn't see it, go check it out. Classic chat. If you can see respect for each other in that room. I'm not sure. Is that the video he's talking about there, Rob?
Yeah, we're in I think it seems like we're in some hotel room, Motel 6 or something. It must have been Nowinski's room because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I picked Warrior up from the airport and we drove to San Bernardino, went to Jesse Hernandez's wrestling school for a few hours. And then, well, it was either, maybe it was, I think it was before that. It must have been. I must have picked him up from the airport and then went to the hotel because Chris Nowinski was there. Probably so. I don't think I knew Warrior that well yet. I think I was still warming up to him, I think, because otherwise it would have been dark afterwards and we would have been tired. Anyway, it was on the same trip before or after the trip to San Bernardino. I think before. I think Nowinski was there for something. And yeah, I used to love provoking. I still love trying to provoke thought and inspire people to think. And the goal with Friends in High Places used to be to get celebrities that are known by basic thinkers only for the one or two dimensions that they represent in their life, and to get them to actually talk like people and you know, with people thoughts about subjects that they might not even be experts at.
That's a great idea.
Well, I thought so. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't know if everyone was as into it as me. I don't remember ever making money off it, but you can see it on my YouTube.
Hey, check it out. Yeah.
But yeah, I know I've always liked that, and that's what it's always been about, you know. So, you know, like regardless, you're a rapper, you're an actor, whatever. How do you guys feel about abortion? You know, it's like, whoa.
Whoa, yeah, whoa.
I always feel like subjects that a lot of people think should be left off the table. I always feel like, no, let's talk about it, you know?
Yeah, get some thoughts on it, stuff like that. I like it, Rob. I like it. And I think we do this on this show pretty good. Like, talk about different things outside of what, you know, is the conventional. We're not just talking wrestling and stuff like that, even though that's a backdrop for it for sure. But it's been good stuff so far.
You know, like when I grew up, God, Jesus had the pencil. You know, he made all the rules. Everybody did everything because Jesus said so. When I grew up, I don't think the world is as much like that now, but a lot of people will still be offended if you say that you don't believe in God or you believe in a different God than they do or whatever. That's still, for a lot of people, a taboo subject, especially like if you're a possible role model, like say your mom and dad, and let's say like your little kid really likes this singer and really looks up to the singer and thinks the world of the singer, and then you find out that the singer says, you know, that they don't believe in God, and it's just like, whoa, you know, love, we don't, you know, don't listen, like they don't approve of that still, you know. It's like, but it's changing. Obviously, I don't know how much though, because I'm not as in touch with the youth as I was when I was a youth, you know. But I saw something that I thought I wanted to repeat, and it was, I don't know, call it a joke, or a statement. Let's call it a statement. But it said, religious war is groups of grown adults arguing over who's got the better imaginary friend.
If a lot of like people, you think about how many wars start over religion, how much, you know, how much it does divide people in a lot of ways. And, you know,
more people have died for religion than I think anything in the history of the planet. You know what I mean? And everyone is so sure that they're right about it. You know, I just thought that takes an open mind to appreciate that statement. I don't know if a lot of people are ready to even have that conversation still today in 2024. I can just imagine a lot of people watching right now and their buttholes puckering up, you know, and being like, oh, you know, careful. But you know, it's like I just thought that's really interesting because man, the wars, the deaths, the things that are going on right now in the Middle East, you know, and really it's over their faith, which is a belief with no evidence.
So, well, I think about it too. It's like, you know, I'm somewhat religious. I don't go to church or anything like that, but I also think like, you know, how people view. Nobody knows. You can't have a definitive answer or anything like that. And to think, I don't know. I always think, Rob, it's such a fascinating conversation for me because I think there's so many different outlets, and we talk about synchronicity, and we talk about certain things like that, and how all that lines up, and I just find it a completely and I used to be kind of like that, Rob, where it would be like what you're saying, like, so if an artist or somebody didn't believe in God, or if something happened like that, I would get very scrupulous about that kind of stuff earlier back in the day. And I would be like, oh man, yeah, I don't know if I could like their music or anything. Now I think about it just from a different aspect. Well, I was like, well, geez, if Jesus, like, I believe in Jesus, if he has a certain reason, like, if there's a reason that person feels that way. And I kind of look at it that way. And it's just like, I just think I don't take if somebody doesn't believe in God, I'm not going to hold it against them whatsoever. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just it's always a fascinating topic for me, talking about religion and stuff.
I think a lot of people are afraid to talk about it. That's one of those things they'd rather just avoid. Because they have hope in their heart. And, they used to tell me in school when I would bring up conversations about because I was so into Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think everything in the Bible has really happened exactly like that? And everything in Greek mythology sounds crazy. A lot of it could be the same stories. And people would be like, all I know is I believe in Jesus Christ, so I'm going to heaven. And they would go like that. That's what kids did in Battle Creek, Michigan, in Penfield. I believe in Jesus Christ, so I'm going to heaven. And they were taught, as long as you say that and do that, then you're saved or whatever. And it was like, but, like a man could like beat an army of 1,000 men with the jawbone of an ass, which is a donkey, and his strength is in his hair. And they'd be like, right, yeah, that stuff's silly. No, that's in the Bible. That's your shit. It could have been Hercules told a different way or whatever. Could have been Atlas because the way he was holding the pillars. Mm-hmm. But either way though, like why, every religion has a version of Noah, it seems like, and also in Atlantis, it seems like the city that was, destroyed when they started all over, and when the population that with Noah, the Greek mythology, it's called Deucalion. That's a dude, and him and his wife like threw rocks after the flood, and if she threw it, it was a female. If he did, it was a male. Weird to repopulate the earth, but Vikings, Indians, everybody has their own version of the man on the boat and the deities flooding the ungodly people to start over again. So it's weird that people can commit themselves and subscribe so much into one idea that they're willing to kill other people for it.
Right. Yeah. And you think about what the core values, like a lot of religion is, it's not that kind of stuff, but people get so ensconced in what they believe and what they think is real. And then there's a division that's created. And I think a lot of evil works through a lot of sometimes organized religion, obviously, and we see, and I think that comes into play too. And it's just like, if people are more able to take a step back and look from a perspective and believe in what they believe, but consider not to necessarily, hey, I have to fight this person because they don't believe in what I believe. It's always a thing that's going to happen. It's never ending, Rob. It's never ending. So.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, there was a documentary on rock music and how Satan was coming through the rock music. That scared the hell out of me as a kid.
Me too.
Yeah, it was like they would play it backwards, and you would hear one of them. Another one rides the bus. Another one rides the bus. They'd play that backwards, and it would go. Start to smoke marijuana. start to smoke marijuana, and they would explain that, see, Satan wants you to smoke marijuana. That way, you're not clear-minded. So that way, it interrupts your connection with God. And they had all these songs, and it was like I thought I was hearing the devil talk to me when they would play it backwards, and that was scary crap. Yeah, I remember I think all the songs, but the artwork, like they were right on the money with the artwork. And I was like, why do they have to have Satan or 666 or whatever on every single album cover, and Dio, Ronnie James Dio, they said you flip Dio upside down, and if you do, it says devil. Why do they have to have that? And then they're like, here's their album cover, Unholy Diver, where Satan has a preacher wrapped up in a chain in the water, about to drown, and Satan's in control of him, and I was just like, holy crap, this is real. Like, Satan is in rock music. I don't know why, but they all worship Satan. And I'm still not sure why they do that.
Yeah, I don't either. Or I remember too, watching the movie Detroit Rock City, and the mom is so like Christian and everything like that. She's like, you can't listen to Kiss. They're knights in Satan's service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. They were.
Yeah. It's
little demons, little demon babies. What are they doing?
Little demon guys.
With the serpent tongue and fucking. What are you doing, man? Why you gotta be so evil?
Yeah. Oh, what's the deal?
Yeah.
Fun stuff, Rob. Jeez.
So now it's funny because that was when I was just a teenager. You know what I mean? 15, 16, like 17, when that was part of my life. But I think maybe it had an impact on me, maybe because right now, the way that I feel, and I've said this a lot of times in interviews, is I don't subscribe to music the way that everyone else in the world seems to. I don't hear it and think, and I don't even hear the words usually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I usually don't, because it's just background shit, and it's trying to distract me. And when I have this conversation, I always say, no one disagrees with me that music at least distracts you subconsciously. If you have it on and you're tapping your foot or nodding your head or you're singing a song, that's driving you. And so your attention span is going to be diverted. And if you can get with that and agree with that, then you have to admit that you're allowing music to control you to a degree, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's to a much higher degree than people realize, and so I don't listen to it that much when I'm by myself. I usually will have the radio off more than having it on and listening to music. If I'm driving, I feel like it, I feel like I have, when I'm not listening to music, then I have my own thought process uninterrupted, and I am comfortable usually in that environment. And I know some people don't have that all day because they listen to music from when they get up in the morning till when they go to bed at night. And it's like, it'd be like all day, thinking over and over about row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. You're trying to answer questions and shit. I don't let it control me. Some music moves me like walk my ring entrance song because I feel the energy of it. But I don't know much about the band. I don't go to concerts. I'll be the most boring guy in the world to be with you at a live music festival or something. I hate live music. When restaurants have live music, that's a no. That's a strong no for me. I don't. Yeah, guys that want to go out on the floor and dance, if they're not just trying to get close to the chick, I don't get it. Then I don't get it. I don't know what makes you want to go out there and move your shoulders and your hips. I don't get it. Not only do I not want to be seen doing that, I also don't want to do that, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the many ways that I'm one of a kind. I don't know how many.
So, do you think were you saying that part of the reason that you think you don't subscribe to music so much was because you almost have like that diversion that you were kind of growing up with, like the Satan ties to some of the music or something? Is that, or did I misunderstand that?
No,
Like,
I never thought about it before this conversation right now.
uh-huh.
But I'm thinking maybe there's a correlation. Maybe I was kind of scared away from music that everyone else was listening to during those formative years, and maybe it just kind of helped shape what my perspective would be as I gathered more information as an adult and how I feel about music now. Yeah, I think it's probably definitely influenced by that one documentary that scared the shit out of me from rock music. It was always rock music, and I don't know why, but um, um, one of them says backwards, he is the only one. Christ, you're infernal. Yeah, it was like, is that really what they're saying though? Because like, you know what I mean? He is the only. And I'd be like, is that what they're saying? It was scary shit though. Yeah, I believed it when I was a kid, and now, I don't think that Satan is in the in the studio trying to trying to get my attention through Dre's beats or whatever. But I do think that music in itself is very controlling, and that when you're listening to music, you're not 100% your true self as far as being not dissipated.
Yeah,
you're less than your whole.
Right. Well, like even me, when I go to the gym, I need music on. Like I need something to kind of get me into the mode or something like that, where I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's the last thing I would do, but most people do. And
right.
Katie sometimes, and I've said this too before, like she'll have to finish the damn chorus, even if it's a song she's been listening to for 15 years. I'm trying to ask her something like, do I turn right here or go straight? Do I turn right or straight? And she's like, and if that ain't enough, you can kiss my crack. What? I'm like, forget it.
All right. I missed the exit. All right. We'll close it out here. We got another super chat. Let me see. Make sure I got everybody, though. Okay. Mike, I'm going to save your question for next week because I'll get Rob's opinion on that later on. I think that'll be a good one. But here's
something that was interesting that I saw. I was watching Michael Francis, watching his podcast. He said something that made me think. And he, I love him. He comes across so respectable and intelligent, charming guy. He's a lot more into Jesus, than my interests, and that's part of what he does.
Sure.
And he said something that was from the Jesus-y perspective, but also I thought it was worth repeating because it just made me think. So here's what it was. He says, you got, he's like, we have this gay pride, gay pride. He said, pride about what? What are you so proud of? What? You're proud of the way that you like to have sex? That's supposed to be a private thing. That's not something you're supposed to be open about. We don't have to talk about the way that we like having sex. Why you got to be so proud of the way that you like to have sex? And he's like, that shouldn't be anybody's business. That should be done in privacy. And I thought, and I was like, man, I never really thought about it that way, but I think he's got a point, and I'm not, I like being transparent. And like I said, I like being able to talk about anything that people think should be off limits. But when it comes to sex and especially the most private parts about what we do specifically when we're having sex, details like that, usually that is more of a private thing that we don't share with everybody. But when you're talking about being gay, I mean, are you talking about you like to fuck the same sex that you were? Or is it just being attracted to? Because if you put it that way, then you could probably blow off everything he said and just counter with that. It's about, about what you're drawn to, and that isn't something that supposed to be personal and be, but they are pretty raunchy too, like the parades, the pride parades and stuff. And a lot of it does seem to be about the physical acts, but I'm not beyond talking about that or sharing that. But I think maybe if you give any weight to what he says, then there's room to think there's a little hypocrisy in a lot of people that that are do whatever in private and then in public, stand for something completely opposite.
That is wild. Like, it really makes you think about that stuff, because when you think about, well, being gay is a sexuality, and like, it defines a certain aspect of like what you're attracted to. So that seems like a private nature, but in the same turn too, like it kind of what you were saying too, it's almost like being gay is almost kind of like the culture of that you're living with, and that an identity, it speaks an identity to you. So if you're coming from that aspect, it's a little different, but the sex aspect should be kind of like almost like a private matter. And it's like, why kind of flaunt that stuff out a lot of the ways too?
Maybe, yeah. Mm-hmm. Something to think about. A lot of times you think that you really have a lot more solid of a position on some of these subjects than you do if you actually stop and think about it, and I do that too much. I question every one of my thoughts to death to the point to where I'm not even sure I'm making the right calls anymore, but that's where my growth has gone and my empathy has gone, to where it seems like everything I question it to death until I frustrate myself with unsurety,
Yeah.
It's so easy, it could just be like, do I want to get another water? And it could be something like that. And I say, talk myself out of it and back into it and out of it and into it. And, but also I think that some of the, I don't know if it's an unwritten or maybe it's understood and written. I don't know, but I think it might not be considered, is that when it comes to pride, like gay pride, I think maybe we could look at that as if it's also similar to, like, say, Black pride, where they are going the extra mile to say, hey, I'm proud of who I am because of oppression that they've gotten before.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And that's kind of how I always kind of looked at it, I think, was like, you think about like Black History Month and like, okay, and then June has become Gay Pride Month. So I always kind of did look at it like in that kind of regard. Like, yeah, it's more so not from the sexual standpoint. Obviously, it's the sexual thing that comes from it. But I think
when you're looking at the Gay Pride Parade and they got the assless,
that's like the aspect that I'm like, yeah, right. It's like you get it, hey, but
on the big penis float.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Shit, something about the
culture, like the pride.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's always the perspective, which sounds like basic thinking when you're considering everything. Really does, which is where most people always fall into. But there's always a perspective of like, okay, big deal. So you're gay, and why do we gotta have gay pride and celebrate just because you're gay? Do we get a straight pride? Do we get a straight pride parade? And then the same thing with Black. Okay, Black pride. Okay, but do we get a white pride? I'm proud I'm white. Do I get a white pride month, a white pride parade? Why do they gotta be white? Okay, you're Black, I'm white. I get it. Why do you gotta be? There's that perspective too. You know what I mean? And I hear people talk from ideology a lot of times, and they're not considering, like I said, they're not considering the oppression that was overcome in order for these proud people to be able to stand out and be proud, because they were before illegal, underground, and beaten to death if they came out like they are able to now. So yeah, there's a lot of that's not thrown into there.
Right. And this is like, the history of it all, like, how oppressed a lot of the, the homosexuality was, and then African Americans, and the plights that they've gone through, and like the fact that now it's like, hey, let's take a month to kind of celebrate some of this stuff. It makes a little sense in that regard for sure. So, all right, here we go. We're closing out with this one. Mike, I'm going to screen start your question because I'll talk to Rob about this one next week when we do it. But I think that's a good question to dive in a little bit and get Rob's perspective on a top star moving forward. All right, here we go though. Here's the other question, Rob. Ooh, what is that?
This is stand-up comedy.
Oh,
for pumpkins.
Oh, pumpkins. All right, yes. Halloweeners. That's coming up, Rob.
Moose Bear Unlimited and Spooky Ninja Kitty.
Ooh, all right. How about that?
It's going to be a huge show on the 19th of
October.
Yes. So
at the meeting space.
Another 9 days. So I'll start thinking about it in about 8 days.
There you go. You're doing a set? You're doing a set?
Yes.
Awesome. Hell yeah. That guy, the top act there that was on the top of it.
Big dude. And Aaron Ansel. Yeah, big dude.
He opened for Jake the Snake in Pittsburgh when I was on the show.
Alex Kool-Aid Ansel. Yeah, he's in the office there in the documentary on the DDP, the Resurrection of Jake the Snake. He for a while he was in the production office working with Jake. Yeah, in Atlanta.
How about that?
Cool. Yeah, he's at every comedy show that I go to. Good guy.
Yeah, he's a nice dude. All right, Alex, here's your question. Would you have liked to been in the Brawl for All? I think we asked about this before, Rob. Would you have liked to been in the Brawl for All?
I don't remember being asked that before. And I would have. I'm thinking like now maybe no, but in 2001 or sometime around then yeah, I would have enjoyed being invited to that, and that would have been up my alley. Maybe I would have done well, who knows, but yeah, that would have been cool. Now, but yeah, at this point, no, because of the reasons that I would do it for, a lot of them would involve my ego, which at this stage I don't feed as much.
So, like, because I know one of the big topics I think stemming away from that was Dr. Death was in that. Steve Williams, I think, was in that, and then that kind of derailed his WWE career because of what happened in the tournament itself. And so like you kind of think about like, well, you got to protect who you are, your image and stuff like that. And if you're in a legit fighting contest that doesn't, that people are really throwing like,
right. No, that's it. You are gambling. That's why, there's I have a lot of stories still that I haven't shared yet, but that's always something, especially once you start having a reputation in our world. That's your brand, and you're literally jeopardizing the value of your brand. And I have probably told this one I can share with you. When I was in, and I might have already, we've been doing this show long enough to start telling the same story 4 times, but
that's all right.
When I was in South Atlantic after USWA, so this is 91, I'm 20 years old, not even old enough to drink yet. But when I went to South Atlantic Pro Wrestling, Charlotte, North Carolina, Manny Fernandez had the book at the time, and he held office in a real estate office building for some reason. That must have been our financer, must have been selling houses or whatever. But I remember one meeting, all the boys were there, and Manny is pissed because the night before, one of the wrestlers got carried out by the bouncers from being in a fight, and Manny was telling us, how are you going to be my world champion if you're seeing, being carried out by two fucking bouncers? And he was like, I don't care what you do. If you're getting carried out, he said, you go out punching and kicking, or you don't go out, And he's like, you got a fucking image to protect. We got a fucking business to protect. And you guys are out there being seen, being carried like pieces of shit. And then you want me to be trying to fucking sell tickets with you as my champion? And he was pissed, And that's something that really is something that you have to consider. You know what I mean? Look at like CM Punk, what he did in UFC. Like the basic thinker just looks at all the negative and then comes up with a negative conclusion. And I hear people dog him so bad. Dude, he can't fight. Come on, bro. He shouldn't even tried that. And and when it comes down to it, having two losses isn't that horrible of a record if it's something that you do a lot, and what it takes to get in there to even accept a matchup like that where you're fighting someone else that also thinks he could be the best in the whole fucking world in that weight class, is willing to fight people from fucking Uganda and Japan and everywhere to prove how badass he is. Well, the followers that want to dog CM Punk would never, ever, ever, ever find themselves in the position where they take the first fight, let alone a second fight. You know what I mean? So that's something where, as far as his reputation goes, it took a beating, whether it deserved it or not. You know what I mean? And when I say whether or not, who knows, if he had 10 fights, maybe he would win the next 8. It's still possible,
Right. And the simple fact that you have the balls to just be like, all right, I'm going to go out there and put myself on the line in an octagon that I've never really done before, like in a professional scene. And yeah, risk all that, like, and be accepting of it. Hey, if I get clowned, I get clowned. And that's, if you get beat up, that's what happens. And it's part of the name of the game in the octagon and stuff like that. So I always give Punk a lot of credit for doing that. I think he did get dogged a lot for that, but I thought it was awesome that he did it. you know.
I remember one particular night when I grew up, and it was the first date with my evil ex. And we went to this bar on Hilton Head where it was like a little community. Everyone knew the owner. Boom, boom, boom. They had a ring set up. And there was some hothead in the ring that was open challenging anyone from the crowd, because his fighter, I think he had a fight and his fighter didn't show up or something. And they were like, come on, is there anybody in the crowd that wants to step in with so-and-so? And I remember like I was that night I crossed over into being an adult, because I was the stupid one before that would have done that. That's why I did the Tough Man contests, and that's why I tried out for American Gladiators, and why I would have been first in line for an opportunity to get out of Battle Creek and do anything. You know what I mean? But then here I am, and then at this point now, my name has some value. I'm in ECW, getting well known, and I'm thinking like maybe I could really impress her if I get in there and kickbox. And I was like, this is my thing. If we put 16-ounce gloves on, then I don't have to worry, like no one's gonna get hurt. And then I was like, how many beers have I drank? And I started like second guessing myself. And then I was like, like, should I do this or not? And then I was like, you're a fucking pussy if you don't do this. And I was having this struggle in my head, and that's exactly what came up, is a lot of weight. Because I was like, if I go up there and say I get knocked out or something, there goes there goes a lot of the value to the legend of RVD. Like you have to fucking think about that all the time, because if that, if that gets out, dude, I saw him get his ass kicked or whatever. Anyway, I opted not to, but I remember like I ran it by her, and yeah, I'm thinking about, taking this challenge. And she was just like, if you want to, go ahead, and she like this and like she cared at all. And you want to hear something that too real.
Too real?
I'll save it.
Okay.
No, here's what I want to say.
Okay.
It's weird, but like years later, because this is 96, 97, and then years later, like in 2001, I meet this guy, and then I find out that he was not only was that he had dated my evil ex, but he was friends with the guy that owned that nightclub that I went to. And I put it all together, and check this out. This is something like I realized, well, like I said, I'm talking 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, 8 years later. Anyway, I'm looking in my memory and I'm putting all the facts together. And one, this guy is the dude that was in the ring that was challenging everybody. 2, it's fucking Sean O'Hare.
What?
That was what I was going to say for the book, but I don't think people watch this shit anyway. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Yep. I almost met him way before I actually did meet him. Wow. Yeah.
That's crazy, Rob.
He wanted to fight so bad that night. Come on, somebody, get in here. And I just remember the way he looked. And I was like, that's the same dude. Yeah.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, 96. And then he showed up in WWE in like 2001 when they got bought out. WCW got bought out. Wow.
Yep.
I didn't know he had like a fighting background either. I wasn't aware of that.
Extensive. That motherfucker has endless stories of him not being able to stop fighting as an adult and getting into a lot of trouble from it.
Wow.
He was one of the guys when you ask wrestlers like who's somebody that you don't want to fuck with. I think from the stories that I've heard, he's one of those guys that people wouldn't want to fight because he loved fucking fighting so much. There's a story out there of him. Either I don't know if it went past a threat or what, but him and the Big Show backing down from him. The wrestling school at the power plant, I think.
Oh, in WCW. Wow, man. Yeah, because just from a visual standpoint, I would just think he was just some big wrestler that's like, I would not have guessed that he had a big fighting background.
Okay, yeah. If you look into it, people that hung out with him and stuff said that he was very quick at the drop of a hat to want to fucking hurt somebody. Wow. And I could kind of feel that vibe off of him a little bit. I feel like, who am I to say? But I feel like if he wouldn't have killed himself, he would have killed somebody.
Man, wow. Yeah. Man, that's wild. Whew. Man, what surreal too. That's like that's who it was.
Yeah.
Man.
Small world.
Small world indeed. Well, guys, this was quite the show. I appreciate everybody giving feedback, chiming in. We had Rob, dude. We have over 5,000 people tuning in live right now. So
awesome, man. Everyone go to onlywrestlers.com. See if it's for you. It's free. Just sign up. Follow me and Katie. We're free always. And tell everyone to sign up too. And you can make money off of them signing up when they use your referral code. So, we want this. We want to have 5 million followers. And we're missing a couple zeros, but we're on our way.
Yes, we're getting there. Here's the link, guys. Go to onlywrestlers.com. Sign up now. Rob is free, Katie is free on there, and the Only Wrestlers account is free. And there'll be more free accounts on there. But then there's a lot of other talent that you can subscribe to and support them too. And then, like Rob said too, you can make a little money off of it too.
And if you're a wrestler, it's a platform for you, so you can extend your relationship with the fan next time you meet them at the autograph table, whether you're at a convention or a wrestling show. They're getting a picture with you. You say, hey, by the way, follow me at Only Wrestlers. Flip them a card or something. And boom, guess what? You get to extend that moment, that support, that fucking relationship. And that's what it's for, yo. So do it. Open invite to the wrestlers. Sign up.
Do it.
We got, I don't know, maybe going on 70 or somewhere around there wrestlers so far, and that we're thinking that even for the next 12 months that it's going to just keep growing every month. So hopefully that is the case, and we're all happy with the direction that it's going.
Right. And guys, if you sign up now early on the forefront, Rob said earlier too, he's interacting with a lot of you guys tuning in and everything like that. So
leaving messages there, and I'm responding to them because I have time, and I'm getting used to checking in on my profile. I'm doing daily videos I'm posting on my feed, and we're always improving things that need improving on the website too. So keep that in mind. Sign up. Do it.
And I guess now's a good time too. I'll plug a couple of our sponsors before we go out. Go to getblitz.com, get-blitz.com. That's Mickey Ray Sinatra and Courtney. They're based out of Maryland, but you can go to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off. It's Get Lit Infused Nano Aid. Delta 9, legal in all 50 states. Use that QR code that you see right there and do it to it. You can also do, a little bit of Blue Chew. Go to bluechew.com, use promo code RVD. You can try it for free. All you do is pay $5 shipping. Go to bluechew.com, promo code RVD. Guys, if you want to support the show too, you can also do that by rating us 5 stars on Spotify and iTunes. Your podcast, Things of Choice, gets the word out about us. You can also go to scan that QR code up top there. You see, get that RVD merch. We got the old school RVD, ECWT. We got some new designs too for RVD, and all that goes towards RVD and towards One True Sport. Go to 1tsport.com, and you can get a whole bunch of merch there too. So check it out.
I don't know if they're still a sponsor or what, but Katie shaved my back with a Manscaped razor.
Yes, there we go. Manscaped coming into play, baby. Yep. It's the what's the name of it? The lawnmower. Scoop it up. Get 20% off. Use promo code RVD. Get 20% off, and you can get your back shaved too, possibly. So there you go.
And Katie and I, she's got another hot boxing match coming up in November at New Woo, and we went there the other day. She had some media and stuff, and then we got entered into the New Woo Cup, which is coming up. So we have bags and bags. You might see the backpacks there stuffed with product.
Yes.
And plus a lot more bags. But we will be amongst the panel of celebrity judges, where people will be entering their products that they make in different categories, from flour to concentrates to edibles, and grading them on a lot of different categories. That's all structured out for us to do, and that's going to be New Year's Eve. So we have a little while before the contest, and like I said, they loaded us down with product. We only have a third of it so far, and it's a lot more than could fit in those bags. So that's part of it, is we get a lot of samples.
How about that? Nice. Good stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Katie's doing the hot boxing fight again. It should be good times. Yeah, and follow her too. It's at the Katie Forbes on X. You can follow Katie on there.
And by the way, if you're looking for somewhere I would recommend to go in Las Vegas in the marijuana scene, Nuwu is so fucking cool. You know, and I've been going there for a long time because they were clients of RVD CBD. And they've done so much growth just in the last few years. It was already really cool, a big ass like airplane hangar on Indian reservation just across the line from the Las Vegas city. And that gives them all kinds of rights to have the smoking lounge. And they had so much inside that building. And now they don't even use that building because they built like this whole other area in where they had land. And man, they have like a little like arena area where they have like live shows and seating, stage seating around it. And they have it's so big and spacious, and they have places in there to shop or to hang out, sit inside, outside. The whole second floor inside is like a big lounge where they have all their sponsors displayed like in the coolest ways. And man, what a cool place it is. I don't think there's anything in Vegas like it, not that I know of. Yeah.
Wow. Jim asks, is that the place with the dab bar?
Yes, it is.
There you go. Nuwu. Check it out, guys. Check it out in Las Vegas. So cool. All right, guys, this has been a fun one. Mike, I will get to your question next week. I promise you, because that's a good one. So I'm bookmarking it for next week. But yes, check out onlywrestlers.com. Be sure to sign up. Early on the ground up. And we'll see you next week here on One of a Kind with guess who? Guess who? RVD.
Whoa, hey.
Oh, dang, guys.
Boom.
Boom. See you next time.